With a 4K display, Snapdragon 8 Gen Elite Gen 5 processor, and massive 13,000 mAh battery, the Vivo Pad 6 Pro looks like a true flagship Android tablet. But here's the real question: does the experience actually match the specs? Today, we're taking an in-depth look at the retail version of the Vivo Pad 6 Pro. Big thanks to my tech partner over in China for providing this footage. I really appreciate the support in making this video happen. Hey everyone, Stella here from techiestreet. If you're into staying updated with the newest gadgets, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our latest tech content. Let's get started. First, the display. You get a huge 13.2-inch 4K panel, and the specs are seriously impressive. With 347 ppi, it offers one of the highest pixel densities among large-screen tablets. In real-world use, you'll notice 4 major improvements. First, the desktop interface. Icons look extremely sharp, especially compared with the previous generation. Second, text and images look noticeably cleaner and more detailed. The extra clarity can actually feel surprising at first. Third, video playback. 4K definitely helps, but the difference isn't as dramatic as Dolby Vision, which makes a bigger visual impact. Fourth, gaming graphics can look better too, although the improvement depends on the game. Now let's talk performance. Overall, the 4K display delivers excellent sharpness. Reading, viewing images, and watching videos all benefit from it. The Snapdragon 8 Gen processor is extremely powerful, but there's one issue: the current software seems quite conservative with gaming performance. For example, games default to 1080p. On a 13.2-inch screen, that can look a little blurry. Testing produced 58.6 FPS at 9.24 watts. Enable super resolution and clarity improves immediately. Performance stayed at 58.2 FPS, while power consumption increased to around 11 watts. The gameplay is smooth, but compared with some rivals, optimization could be better. The reason becomes clearer when looking at CPU scheduling. The CPU frequency rarely exceeds 2400 MHz, which is very conservative. At the highest 2.5K setting, the ASTIC high-pressure Star Academy map averaged 58.8 FPS. However, brightness dropped from 350 nits to about 170 nits after testing. For comparison, the Honor Magic Pad 3 Pro ran at 3K resolution, delivering around 60% more pixels, but averaged roughly 50 FPS and dropped to 270 nits brightness. Personally, I prefer Vivo's strategy of prioritizing stable frame rates. After all, 2.5K is already extremely sharp at this size. Performance on the Ming Dynasty map, including Yanwun's 16-liter and Kaifeng Sprint, was also fine. Push every graphics setting to maximum, and the Vivo Pad 6 Pro can reach 4K gaming, but there's a catch. Average frame rate falls to just 48.9 FPS. The Magic Pad 3 Pro uses lower resolution, so its image isn't as sharp, but it maintains around 55 FPS. Again, the Vivo CPU stays around 2400 MHz. It's powerful hardware, but the software is clearly holding it back. Hopefully, future updates improve this. On the other hand, optimization for FPS games like 3-in-1 Action and Peacekeeper Elite was actually very good, with stable frame rates. With super resolution enabled in Peacekeeper Elite, the tablet can even hit 4K resolution, producing incredibly sharp graphics. So, if you're a PUBG mobile player who prioritizes visual quality, the Vivo Pad 6 Pro is definitely worth considering. Now let's move to the system experience. The biggest software upgrade is the new Workspace mode. It feels similar to Mac-style multitasking, and the smoothness is impressive. Even when a video app moves into the background, playback can continue. That means the 4 apps placed along the side can genuinely work simultaneously rather than simply acting as shortcuts. For example, while using WPS Office with a PC, you can instantly switch to the browser, find information, and drag text or images directly into your document. You can also drag messages or images from WeChat straight into your document without extra steps. At the same time, you can play a game while keeping a guide open beside it. The entire workflow becomes much simpler, and Workspace mode gives you a stronger feeling of control. The animations are smooth and everything feels polished. Personally, this is a feature I'd keep enabled all the time. But there's one important limitation. Workspace mode is only available on models with 12 GB RAM or more, and honestly, that makes sense. With only 8 GB RAM, keeping this many apps and background processes running simultaneously would be difficult. Another big advantage of the Vivo tablet is its excellent PC connectivity. Connect it to a laptop through USB, and the latency in extended display mode becomes extremely low, lower than almost any wireless solution. Combined with the massive 13.2-inch 4K screen, this becomes incredibly useful for research, checking information, and organizing content. There is one small issue. Enabling this feature lowers the mouse DPI, so you'll need some time to adjust to the sensitivity. Phone connectivity is another highlight. iPhone notifications, messages, and even calls can now appear directly on the tablet. For iPhone users, that's seriously convenient. This feature has also reached the Vivo Pad 5 Pro, so if you own the previous generation, it's worth checking for the update. Of course, the software still has some weaknesses. For example, the desktop icons are large and highly saturated, which makes the overall information density feel low, and unfortunately, there's currently no way to change it. System updates are another concern. Vivo's tablet software development remains relatively slow, and that has received plenty of criticism. The software ecosystem itself also needs improvement. This time, a new silhouette-themed version based on PC WPS has been introduced. For previewing phone or camera footage, especially 4K 30 FPS video, performance is pretty smooth. The preview is basically lag-free, but with demanding 4K 60 FPS 10-bit footage recorded on an HM5, some stuttering becomes noticeable. To be fair, this footage is extremely demanding. Even my M1 Max computer can struggle with it sometimes. So for light to medium editing, the tablet works well, but for serious video editing, I'd still recommend a computer. Now let's talk about the speakers. Compared with the Vivo Pad 5 Pro, the Pad 6 Pro sounds slightly softer and less impactful to me. However, the overall sound quality has improved, especially in the higher frequencies. Compared with the Magic Pad 3 Pro, the difference in sound tuning is obvious. Both tablets clearly take different approaches. Moving to other hardware, the Vivo Pad 6 Pro still lacks fingerprint recognition, NFC, and GPS. The comfort features are mostly similar, but the battery is a major upgrade. You now get a huge 13,000 mAh battery, larger than the Magic Pad 3 Pro. And because performance scheduling is conservative, battery life is also better. I haven't done a dedicated battery test yet, but based on normal use, I'd estimate around 10% longer battery life. For charging, the Pad 6 Pro supports up to 66 watts. Interestingly, the box includes both 80-watt and 90-watt adapters. The Magic Pad 3 Pro supports 80-watt charging, but its box only includes 66-watt charger. Honestly, swapping these charging configurations would make much more sense. So, what are the 3 biggest upgrades? First, the 4K display and powerful performance. But gaming performance is still conservatively scheduled, leaving plenty of room for optimization. Ideally, Vivo should offer a customizable performance mode like Honor. The third major upgrade is the software experience, especially workspace functionality and improved iPhone connectivity. As long as you choose enough RAM for your needs, the bigger question is simple: is the Pad 6 Pro worth buying? Price-wise, the memory limitations make its value less impressive than before. Previously, it almost felt like you were buying the processor and getting the tablet for free. Still, this is a substantial upgrade. You get an 8 GHz processor and an excellent 4K display, which remains one of the biggest highlights of the Pad 6 Pro. And that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!